Hello and welcome to K-Stop, Fuse's K-pop podcast. Hey guys, I'm Jeff. I'm an editor at Fuse, and as always, I'm joined by the super part of my junior part, Tina Zhu.
Hey, welcome back to K-Stop as always. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes. It's been a quieter time perhaps in the K-pop world, but there's still
Indeed.
lots and lots to talk about. As you guys know, you can listen to K-Stop so many different places on Fuse.tv, on iTunes, on Stitcher, on YouTube. It's all about what you prefer, because we like to say we try to make this as much about you as much as it is about us or about our thoughts. So, which is why we always kick it off with reader comments. And this one, I love this comment. It actually was left on Fuse.tv, and so it comes from. This was from. I'm going to tell you who it's from in just one moment.
As we pull it up.
Yes, but the comment itself was very good. It was, so this person wanted to know, they said, I'd be interested to hear a discussion on your use of the word artist, quote unquote artist, in relation to K-pop performers, as I would typically reserve such a term for creators. He said, in K-pop, G-Dragon would of course count as an artist, as he is the main writer for both Big Bang and a lot of the members' solo material. Obviously, there's a smattering of other examples such as Zico and LE from EXID, or is it Lay? I'm not totally sure. However, calling members of EXO, AOA, G-Friend, 17, or insert name of 25 other groups that roll off the tongue here artists seems to be a great overstatement of their actual role in the creative process. They are simply performers of other people's material, and talented ones at that. Just would like to know your thoughts. So.
Okay, that's a very interesting, semi-hot take.
Hot take.
Should I kick it off, or do you have strong thoughts that?
No, I want you to kick it off.
Okay, I will kick it off then. I totally understand where this listener is coming from, and it's something that I think is always something that's brought up a lot, especially when you talk about K-pop, because K-pop is a lot of what's popular worldwide is kind of the manufactured idol K-pop kind of structure, where a lot of the artists are cut from the same cloth and they don't always differentiate from one another very, very well. I think that when you're part of a certain particular genre, or if you are either a solo artist or a standout of your group, it's easier for you to show particular artistic qualities that might make you that might deem you as more like artist material. I say this because I think a lot of groups, and this person named 17, AOA, these groups they don't have like one strong standout member. So I think it's more about the lack of opportunity that the management allows certain members to show off their artistic, like, because G-Dragon's clearly like the standout artistic genius of Big Bang, right? Mm-hmm. So it's easy to say he's an artist, he's a creator, and he is, and I'm totally on board with that. But it's like he was given much more flexibility within the group. Whereas like some other groups, they might not have that flexibility, or they're just starting out, and maybe the management just wants to take them in a certain direction. So they don't have as much opportunity to, for example, write a song or, create a particular vision. Whereas like I think solo artists, when you're not competing with other members, you're pretty much, you have the whole spotlight. But so it's I'm not saying all solo artists or solo singers or acts are artists. You just have maybe more flexibility and room to show those artistic traits.
I see what you're saying.
So it's kind of weird, because I'm like trying to think of it in like with American artists and acts. Mm-hmm. Like Chris Brown doesn't write all of his material. He has written material, but he doesn't write all of his material. but nobody would argue that he's not an artist.
Right. Yeah. No. But yeah. And then even if you look at like someone like One Direction, you look at someone like them. They wrote some tracks on
Mm-hmm.
albums. Co-write some stuff. But a lot of times they get kind of labeled as like the pop.
Right.
But when
Right.
they're going solo, suddenly when
Right,
Zayn Malik is
right.
going,
Now all of a
suddenly
sudden,
he's
Zayn is like this freaking Frank Ocean
yes.
Miguel. Everyone's like, oh, he's like, it's
Right.
just when
It's totally perception. I
it's
think
a
is
lot of it is perception.
yeah.
I won't say that there are acts out there whom I personally would not consider artists myself,
Yeah.
but part of it is
Hmm.
the flexibility and opportunities that you're given,
Yeah. And I
and
even
the genre plays a big role.
right. And
So
I even look at someone, if you think about Wonder Girls, the this big thing, or the most recent album, the big, we love that album, and the big thing was
mm-hmm.
that they composed and they wrote so much on this album,
Right.
and they played a big part of it. But then what gets chosen as a single? The only song they didn't write and produce.
Right. Yeah, it's always hard with a lot of idol groups
Yeah,
because
because
they're
it's
painted as like
product.
a manufactured product. But
Yeah.
I think Zico, he's an example of like he started out as an underground rapper. Like when you're a rapper, you have like pretty much full control of your artistry.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it's a lot of it has to do with your background as well.
Yeah,
So,
no, that's a good point too.
what does that mean that all rappers are artists? That's another conversation. But it's like it's kind of apples and oranges,
Right.
To an extent.
It's yeah, and it's tricky too, because I think also it comes down to the company and just what the company wants to do too.
Right.
They might be, someone might have, for all we know, and I kind of say this with a chuckle, but not really. Like all the ladies of AOA may have written stuff. They may be
Right.
writing music. They may be, doing all
Right.
these things. That doesn't mean the company is going to put it out and
Right.
release it or what. I feel like I read that like Choa, the big singer in that
Mhm.
group had written something. I could be mixing her up with someone else, but that just
Right.
yeah, the company just didn't like
Right.
it.
Right.
So I don't know. It's interesting, but also just well, first of all, or that was thanks Mike Heim from who actually according apparently is a former or lives in Seoul.
Mhm.
It says he lived in Seoul at one point, but also lived in America. So thanks, Mike, for
very
that
cool.
comment. But then also, just got to clarify, because I know the fans might come for us. I do believe 17 does write and produce their own stuff. So
Yeah. See, so it's
gotta
like,
just, don't want to get called out for being incorrect here.
right. Right.
But 'cause
And I
we-
think like sometimes when you are very westernized and you like to fuse a lot of kind of American elements or Western music elements into your own material, as when you're a Korean act, people tend to think, oh, that's like more artistic almost.
oh,
Like G Dragon, like a lot of YG fan like G Dragon, CL, they're very Western friendly. They're very kind of like edgy. Like
yeah, I know
like,
exactly what you're
you know
saying.
what I'm saying? Like just because you're edgy doesn't necessarily mean you're more of an artist.
Right. No, and that's the thing
But I
is that
guess yeah.
because it plays more to those sensibilities that we,
That you're pushing boundaries, but
yeah.
it's like it's pushing boundaries like this gonna sound bad, but like over there it might seem like it's pushing boundaries because it's
see.
very different from here. Whereas
Sure.
like that same what they're maybe like the same thing you would do over there but you do here, it might not seem that novel. I don't like, so it's like more, again, it's like a lot of it is perception.
Yeah, no, total. I think it is a big part of it. Yeah, is perception. Yeah, and just kind of, it's a different industry. Just kind of
Yeah.
how it works and what does work, and I don't know. I do feel like we're seeing more of a trend in it's becoming more and more artists are seemingly at least trying to produce their own stuff and get more of their own stuff out
Right.
there, which is, Beast has been one who's been doing it and doing it successfully.
I would never say that Beast collectively are not artists.
Yeah, right. And, B1A4 is getting like that. CM Blue, people,
Right.
this does exist, and I know this, I know Mike is more so referring to the kind of the very more idol-y groups,
Right,
I think
right.
that we're kind of thinking more of, but
Totally.
I think I do feel like there's going to be more of a shift of more like artistic ownership, kind of how it was even here, 2000s. Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys,
Right.
NSYNC, they did not write any of this
Right.
stuff, But now it's more important for Katy Perry and Beyonce and
Right.
whoever, what have you, that they wrote this.
Right, that
This is what they're going
there are
through.
some layers and depth to
Yeah.
their material, that
When right.
that they're not just, performing something that is meaningless to them.
Yeah, but I mean, what the heck does Dark Horse have to do with Katy Perry?
Right.
Come on. But anyway, that's a whole different
Right.
discussion.
I love that. That felt like a deep cut. Like
Oh my God, I know. What the hell?
I know, that was an awesome question. I love that. I love that combo we just had.
Cool. And then, as you guys know, if you are a listener, a full-fledged K-Stop listener, we have a new element to the show now where we take a look at at what music release you guys loved most from the previous week, to see who was the top let's call it the number one release of last week. And last week, of course, we talked about Jessica, former members of Girls' Generation, AOA,
Right.
and G-Soul, who all released new material. And I'm gonna and now the polls are officially closed as of we're filming this, and the ultimate winner ended up being AOA.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
AOA and Jessica were tied neck and neck all week, but then I think
Okay.
AOA surged last minute.
Okay.
They ended up with 70% of the vote.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's a
so
landslide.
really,
Okay.
yeah, it's kind of true.
Props to them.
Yeah.
That's great.
Jessica ended up with 25%, and Lil G Soul
Poor
with
I
5%.
kind of figured. I mean, G Soul is not, an idly artist, but of course that definitely does not reflect the quality of his content, because I love that release. That's what I voted for.
That's who you voted for?
Yes.
Yeah, I had to give it to AOA personally. It's
Okay.
just so catchy, and yeah, I really love the EP too. I really do think it's their
Yeah.
best one. So,
We'll see if they chart later.
yeah, when we get to our chart section. So we're referencing everything so far, but let's get into some new music for
Let's do it.
this week. Who was the standout on your opinion? Who do you want to get to?
Surprisingly, well, my favorite out of the three, let's do that one second.
Okay.
I'm gonna
Tina's
go,
holding back.
I'm gonna go with the one who surprised me the most in the best possible way, because
Okay.
I wasn't really familiar with this group before. Not, like here and there I'll like hear snippets, but there were
I know where this
teasers and
is going.
stuff. Okay, Monsta X, they freaking killed it with All In.
Whoa. Tina says they killed it.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know, give me, because they were on your comeback roster in our
they were
last month's competition or
yeah.
contest.
And I think they were scheduled for an April comeback, but I think
Right.
one of the members got injured, and so that
Okay.
kind of delayed things a little bit. But yeah, no, I was really anticipating this in particular just because I remember they were coming to KCON last year, and I was like, didn't know a ton about them. Didn't watch. They had a reality show where they were formed. Didn't come
Right.
together, or I didn't watch it, but they really pleasantly surprised me with every release and every subsequent release since then.
They've had for someone who's kind of new, they've had quite a few releases.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and
This-
for those who are not familiar with Monsta X, they're, I believe, a 7-member, more leaning toward hip hop
Yep.
group, formed from the show No Mercy, and they're
Yep.
under Starship
Entertainment, home to Sistar and Boyfriend, and then these are one of those newer hip hop oriented groups. And so you really liked All In, the first single.
I really liked it. I was a little bit confused by the music video effort.
I was gonna say,
I
someone explain this
Someone
music
needs to.
video.
Oh well, okay. I was gonna ask you to explain it. I don't know what's happening in the video.
I was looking at the YouTube comments.
Right, and I was like, somebody give me a hint of what's happening.
no one
But
even talked about it.
I mean, the title of the EP is The Clan Part 1.
The Clan Part 1.
So I'm like,
Lost.
okay, right. So I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, it's very kind of dark, gritty, very action packed. It feels very cinematic.
It did. It did.
You know, they definitely felt like a clan. It looked like I was watching a clan. They were doing like, I don't know what they were doing. They had like face paint and like had like a
Yeah.
little circle of they got together and were
Well,
doing something.
at one point it looks like these like kind of older gentlemen are kind of are above them or
Right.
owning them or something, and they
Right.
hit
And
one
they
of the members.
and
I'm like, oh my
yeah.
gosh, and then they come back and fight them, but
Mhm.
then. I got a sense of a lot of bromance, like a lot of
There
like
was a lot of bromance. Yeah,
there's,
the
there's like
fangirls were going crazy on the threads.
I the threads. I love that. Yeah, no, they there were some really nice scenes where the guys, are taking care of one another, and
Right.
if one's hurt, they're looking out for another. There's some hand holding. I loved that.
Right.
And it was like I definitely got the sense that like okay, that their thing is that they're in this together.
Mhm.
Clan is a really interesting word in my opinion.
Yeah.
A really interesting English word, but I think it's kind of I think I get what they're going for.
Mhm.
Granted, then things got kind of trippy, and they're drinking
Right.
some blue potion and
Yeah, it was
the face
very
paints and the
yeah.
flowers. And if you guys didn't check this out,
It was a
you
really intense video for sure. But like what confused me was that the lyrics don't match the video at all. What I loved about the song was that the song was very, had like a it was up tempo, hip hop
Yeah.
beat. But the lyrics were very sentimental. They're
Yeah.
saying like I'm all in for you. I want to steal your
Yeah.
heart. They're like full they're like set on this girl or
Right.
guy, whatever. So I was just confused as to why that storyline maybe wasn't played out, but whatever. It's
I wonder
personal
if
preference, I guess.
I wonder if that was maybe why they didn't sing the lyrics, and because they don't lip sync anything, or it's
Right.
strictly a cinematic sort of
Yeah,
watch what's
yeah,
happening.
like a
There's no
cinematic
choreography
production,
or
yeah.
anything like that. Though I think Monsta X is really good on the choreography side. I hope there's like a performance version or something.
There is a
that comes.
dance version. I think
Oh
they
my
added
gosh.
it either yesterday or today.
Oh, Tina's on top
Probably
of it.
today, but I was gonna say I do love the dance version. And for those who have seen it, I can't remember his name, but one of the members is wearing a very interesting top with basically a big ass slit on the back, and I'm like, I don't know why this was even like. It's like you might as well just not even wear a shirt, but like everyone was obsessed with it. I kind of loved it, but the choreography was on point. It was great.
Nice.
Chuhong, I think that's how you say his name, the rapper.
Yeah.
He had a mean dab in there, so now it's Block B's. I think was it Bam Bam, or I guess like everyone in Block B, they all did the
Bam-
dab in their toy choreography. So
Bam
it's like,
Bam's in God 7, by the way.
oh my God, yeah. Oh, what am I saying? Okay, what I was trying to say.
You were trying to
Who was the member in Now I'm getting all confused.
in Block B who
In
did
Block
the
B
dabbing.
with it wasn't Tang. It was
It was.
oh my God, I'm like, am I thinking Yu
Piho or Yu Kwan? Maybe.
Is there someone with like a double?
P.O. B-Bomb?
Oh, I think I'm thinking B
Oh,
bomb.
B-Bomb,
with
Bam
the
Bam.
B. My bad, y'all.
It's
my
okay.
bad. I knew that didn't sound right when I said it. But yeah, so I was happy to see the dab come back.
The dab comes
But yeah,
back again.
You gotta check it out. It's pretty solid. They're
Yeah.
in a parking lot because I think that's like the go-to for like a lot of dance segment videos.
Apparently nowadays, yeah. No, I mean this song sounds like something I've heard, like that do 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 do. It sounds like something, but I don't know where
Right.
it's from.
It sounds like I thought it'd be very generic, and the beat, like to me, doesn't. It's not like you said, some like that special or breaking the mold, but I don't know, just something about it really works.
Well, I always really liked, and this is how Monsta X came out with their like first couple songs, like Trespass and Rush was kind of like this, and Hero was kind of like they bring these kind of really intense sounds and raps, but then they blend it really nicely with some like R&B sort of sound, more R&B vocals,
Yeah,
and it's a
yeah.
little more. It's not so. I think a lot of groups, if they're bringing that hip hop sound, they give you a really poppy chorus. But
Right.
I always thought Monsta X was smoother and a
Right,
little
right.
more like yes, like smooth and croon worthy with in the delivery. And I
Yeah.
always really like that about that. In particular, the Trespass, I remember it just kind of knocked me on my off my feet for a second because I was like, oh, this is so cool. And
Yeah.
just, they really emphasize that vocal point even though they're more hip hop oriented. So
Mhm.
I always really, yeah, I think it's another slam dunk from them. I hope it helps them stand out. I honestly don't think they've been able to chart even that high in Korea yet. So I think it's time.
Right. No, I'm excited. I wish there had been a choreography in like
Yeah, right.
the original video,
Just
but
because
that's
I'm so
fine.
confused. But I'm hoping maybe there's more to come from this more sort of. I believe I think it's if it's called the Clan Part 1 or something. Or if
Mhm.
this is the Lost section, maybe there. I feel like there's going to be a Part 2 where we're going to see a trilogy or something.
Right.
I feel like I read something about that. Not one. Don't want to
There's a lot
go
of
on record and
there's a
say.
lot of that happening
Yeah,
lately.
so many trilogies. Yes.
Right.
So Monsta X, we're rooting for you, and you guys can check out the music video, the performance video, all of it, because we put playlists on Fuse.tv, and you can listen to all the music we talk about and more in this episode,
Yeah.
in our episode 16 playlist. So now, Tina, that was the one you were most surprised
Yeah.
by. Which one did you love the
I
most?
loved my girl Baek A Yeon.
Oh,
Um
this was probably the most surprising for me, to be
oh
honest.
really?
Yeah.
Okay. So the single is called So So,
Yeah.
and it's like her second official single as a solo artist, I believe.
Right. But she did
She
so well last year.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
had like a couple soundtracks, solos, and then she had that song with Young K from Day Six that
Right.
charted really well, called Shouldn't Have,
Yes.
which she also promoted on like shows and everything. But I'm glad to see her officially return as her own, as her own solo act, I guess.
Yes.
Um, and I think that this song is definitely quirkier and cuter than what she debuted with, because she debuted with something very very heavy called Sad Song,
Yeah.
and it was just like it was honestly like just such a heartbreaking song to listen to. But I
Right.
think So So is still on brand for her
Mm.
because it's still about kind of like struggling with finding love, but
Yeah.
not in like it wasn't as heavy. But it was I love the concept of this. It's basically like a lighter version of what
Mm.
she debuted with.
Yeah.
So, like the music video is basically her in a hospital, like a pastel colored
Oh
hospital,
yeah, I love that.
and they're trying to figure out the root of her broken heart
Yeah.
and how to get past it. And so the title is referring to like, oh, everything's mediocre.
Yeah.
Being alone is whatever. But like trying a date, also whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
feeling anyone, and I don't know
Right.
what's wrong, and I don't know why I feel like this. And
Which I think is a really relatable
that's
sentiment.
what I say. Exactly. I was gonna say, like, if anything, even if sonically maybe the track isn't your cup of tea because it's like
Yeah.
more mellow and whatever, but like mellow pop, it's the content is very relatable.
Yeah, and that's what really drew me because I liked more or less, the song was nice to me. It kind of reminded me of IU, another
Yeah, yeah.
big, easy breezy female vocalist in K-pop. But yeah, I was looking at the lyrics in particular, and that's what drew me in because I was like, oh, I have been there. I was
Right.
like, everyone is so like, man.
Yeah.
But also, but it's very, and I like that she took this take on it,
Mhm.
and everyone's been through heartbreak, and we hear so many idol songs about being
Right.
lovelorn and whatnot. But this was nice, being like, everyone's, I'm
Right.
better than this,
And I love that she is actively questioning,
Yeah.
what's going on with her whole like like emotional mental state,
Oh yeah.
and she's really kind of like searching for answers. And I also but she did it in like kind of like a cute
Uh-huh.
way. Like I love that in the hospital basically she's basically representing what you would do with like a good friend of yours, right? When you're
Yeah.
brokenhearted, like you would talk to someone and try to figure out what the core of the problem is. So when
Right.
she was having her self-examined by the doctors are essentially trying to search for, the core of the problem and what's causing the heartache.
Yeah.
And then the next step, like a lot of your friends will be like, well, you just need to go out and meet more people, right?
Right.
So that's what they did in the video too. They like sent in like 3 different guys.
All these cute
One was like
boys.
super suave in a suit. One like was a talented sax player, but like she was so unimpressed by all of them, and she was just like, it's not you, it's me. I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm in this little funk, right?
Yeah, and well, one also brought her a baked potato, which I don't.
That was a little weird.
Am I missing something culturally?
If somebody, maybe.
Is like a baked potato like that, or is he supposed to be? I'm not sure.
Maybe, I don't know.
I've never heard of impressing.
Because I know
someone.
like Asian cultures, if you bringing food is like a sense of like, showing like you care about them. But I don't know if baked potato is of significance to her or in the culture.
Yeah.
I would personally not want a potato because it's very starchy, and it would take many burpees and push-ups in the gym for me to work that baked potato.
If you were trying to
off.
woo Tina,
Do
let
not
us
bring
go
me
on the
carbs,
record.
please.
Do not bring her any carbs, especially a baked potato.
Do not bring that.
Me neither. Unless, just don't. Actually, you can bring it for me. Just no bacon. Okay.
No bacon.
But I know. I mean, that's the thing is that I like that it wasn't just about. It actually wasn't just a reflection on being bored, because that can almost come off a little like, I'm bored with everyone. I'm better than everyone.
Right, and she even said in the beginning, it's not that I don't think no one's good enough for me.
Right.
She's like
She
trying
wants to be
to
in
find
love.
this Mr. Right.
Yes.
And sadly, the only thing that catches her eye in the video is that little puppy dog.
I know. and you know what? Okay, so spoiler alert. Stop listening for only 1 minute if you don't want the video spoiled. But you should
Right.
already have watched it anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was almost at the end. I thought the puppy was I thought it was like the puppy was going to represent some external thing that she
Right,
found
right.
happiness with. But at
Right.
the end, it seems like she's almost a little wooed by a guy
Yeah.
being nice to the puppy, which
Right.
was okay. That was cool and fine and whatnot. But then I'm like, I wish. I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting here, but I kind of wanted her to like find love in something else,
Yeah.
which she kind of did. But
Right. No, I totally get that. And that was kind of like my impression, but also I thought about it. I'm like, maybe that was her showing that if you don't try so hard to solve a problem, maybe it will just solve itself. Maybe like she wasn't expecting that guy to be there with but the dog just happened to run to him, and she
was
just
walking
and she
out,
just
yeah.
like encountered him by chance.
Huh.
Maybe that's like her like
Tina,
the
I
take
love
she
that.
went. I don't know.
I love that.
I don't know,
take.
because like she sounded so like defeated, kind of like, oh, I'm so over this,
Right.
But then like lo and behold, there was
Here.
somebody at the end, and I like that they didn't show him,
I-
because that
me
wasn't the
too.
focus. That wasn't the point of the video.
For all we know, he's haggard. But
Oh,
I
Lord.
love that too. I agree. It's certainly something fresh, something unexpected for the
Right.
K-pop world, and I'm so for it. Yeah,
Right.
it was really those
Right.
yeah, it was, and it totally looks and sounds like your typical K-pop track, but here it is with a
Yeah.
different spin on things.
Yeah, and for those who have not heard her debut mini album EP, it features Jungkook from 2PM, who penned one of the songs, or it's called Always, and that duet was really nice. And her debut single, Sad Song, is really great, but make sure you are in a certain mood to listen to it, so it'll
Yeah.
put you in your feels. But that album's really great too, so it's great to see her just kind of try different things, but still
Yeah.
kind of stay on brand for her, at least.
Another win for JYP, I think.
I know, right?
Killing it. JYP, her label, home of Wonder Girls.
Yes.
Miss it. Well, kind of miss it.
Oh, yeah.
Twice, 2 p.m., Day 6, got 7, all our
Right.
faves. So yeah, let us know what you thought of our girl Baek A Yeon.
Yeah.
If I pronounced that correctly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
All right, perfect. And then last but not least, in our music section, we have the debut full-length solo album from Jonghyun,
Mm-hmm.
from SHINee.
Yes.
And
Huge
this
group.
Yes, SHINee, always consistent, always huge, always big. But this album is big in particular because this SM, just last or just 2 weeks ago, I should say, Tiffany from Girls' Generation made her solo debut. We've been seeing a lot of solo debuts from SM entertainment artists. Home to so many huge acts like Super Junior and Girls' Generation, TVXQ, BoA, FX, Red Velvet, but XO. But this is the very first so group member to release a full-length solo album.
Right.
The album is called She Is, and it's really well. Tina, I'm gonna let you kick this off.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Because that's how I would do it.
Okay.
What'd you think?
I liked it.
You seem hesitant.
I liked it. I like the sound, and I think
of the single.
I like it more because he tried something new, and he's showing a bit more personality, and he's stepping outside of the box a little. Jonghyun's very like ballady and like big vocals, and he was part of SM the Ballad, and he was never really someone who seemed like full of personality and like vibrant, and I don't say that in like a mean way. He just wasn't like the vibrant one. Was usually Key of the group, or like Mingho or whatever, but he was more of like the stoic leader, and like he seemed like kind of fun sometimes, but he was more of a ballad kind of guy, more serious. So I like that he delivered something that was a bit more fun, kind of electro pop, and the video was, I'm not saying I liked the super high saturation, but
high saturation.
Yeah, they were
very
like
70s.
Color, and like he invented color, and it was just a lot of like, there was some dancing. I'm like, oh, why he's dancing? I don't know what's happening. So, and I feel like this song is really gonna do well in the charts because it's like something you kind of groove to.
Yeah.
But he really, I mean, he's still like, sounded good on it, and like, that was my like general take from that. I don't know how.
I would, I mean, I think, we both kind of agree on this, and just what we've heard just this year from SM, that a lot of these solo ventures are going in unexpected, but like pleasantly unexpected directions. And, and I remember his first release, I should say, which is also his last release. He had this song called Guilty Crazy or Guilty Pleasure or something. It was, in my opinion, very generic. I didn't like it, to be honest. I didn't think it was very good.
This was the bass EP?
This was the bass EP, yeah. And he had this song that was so much better called Deja Vu, which I think started promoting after the fact.
Yeah.
That song was much better, but I think SM was kind of, I don't think this was very early in the solo starts and everything, when solos started becoming more trendy.
Right.
And I think they kind of like just let him go for it. And from what I understand, I apologies, I've been traveling. I didn't get to listen to it yet, but I hear this album is really, really strong. Just a lot of like really strong tracks on it.
Yeah.
And different sides of him.
There's definitely a stronger concept for this album. I feel like it much more kind of like I don't know how to explain it. Like he's kind of like chilling at the bar, and like he'll sometimes step out onto the dance floor, sometimes stay by the bar. That kind of vibe that I got.
Okay, all right, I like that. Yeah, I heard a couple tracks, just really quickly. Suit Up was the closer was kind of cool. He
definitely got funkier on this.
Yeah,
whereas he generally was more ballad R&B.
Yeah, and I think he wanted to do that, or I think that there was a side of him that wanted to do this kind of thing. Like the whole. Well, I don't think it was meant to sound like this, but she is like I thought he was saying shiz,
That's
and
what I thought. Well, I thought he said shit at first. But then I was like, the song is She Is, but then still shiz.
Shiz.
Which I think is funny. It's like,
it
whatever.
It kind of works.
It's catchy. It works.
And like that little way. I was like, give me a little Snoop Dogg.
Yeah. An accidental, like, cute little corny part of it. But.
Yeah. And I'm like, why not? So it was once again like refreshing, pleasantly
Mhm.
unexpected,
Yeah.
which is how I felt Tiffany was, which is how I felt.
Mhm.
Who else? Yeah, just like who else gave like those really cool. So
Oh, Crush had like kind of like
yeah,
that
yeah.
nice vibe. Um,
So many like nice, yeah.
all
Think I
three of
love.
it's funny that you bring up all three of those artists because they all kind of use like a rosy kind of filter. Well, no,
Oh,
actually, Jonghyun he did more of a gray. His thing was a
yeah.
little too dark. He needed to
Oh,
up the brightness
you
of
know what
that
I did?
video.
Funny that you mentioned that. I went to my laptop to turn
Hmm.
up the brightness because I thought I was watching
Right.
a
I
little
was like,
too.
what is happening? I can't actually see what's happening. It's really dark.
Right, but they really went for it, obviously, and it
It's a
was
little
even kind of
hazy, but
cool because like even some of the dancers had like yellow
yeah.
tights on,
Yeah.
to even mess with their skin color, which is
Right.
kind of they
It
really
was
went for it.
very they
Very,
went full on vibrant neon.
right, very, very 70s, very
Yeah.
cool,
But
but
I would have gone with maybe a white background because my eyes were like
yeah.
really messing up watching this video.
Right. I'll definitely keep listening to the album.
Yeah.
Might not be. I mean, I thought the video was kind of cool. By the end, like so many things are going on, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
It was definitely quirkier and like it definitely showed just more of a personality
yeah,
for him. Like there was like lollipops and like,
yeah.
kind of,
And I liked that. I think I was into, or I'm like, okay, now I kind of get who you are a little
right.
more. I thought the last one was just a little too generic,
It's
and
a little too safe for him. Nothing
yeah.
unexpected.
And I
Yeah.
think they're finally letting this artistic side show more. And I think if I'm
Yeah.
correct, I think talking about when we're talking about artists and being an artist, I think he wrote on this album a lot.
Mhm.
If I'm correct. So I think it's
Yeah.
cool. It's a cool move to
Right.
see.
And I just like I scanned through the album and certain tracks were a bit too funky for me, but
A
like
bit too funky.
overall I thought it like flowed really nicely. I liked the track Moon cuz that was like a bit
Ooh,
more like like slower
yeah.
tempo, and I like kind of like that loungier sound. So there's a good mix. He didn't totally abandon, his overall kind of like sonic approach that we're used to, but
Mm.
he just kind of, took it somewhere else this time.
Yeah. So I think it's a win for him.
Yeah.
I think
I think fans are responding really well, and I think
yeah.
to have like, a solo or a member of a group release a full studio album is a really big deal because usually that just shows that they're really committed to this.
Yeah, it's a sign of
Usually
bigger things to come.
usually it's like, oh, you do like,
Yeah.
4 or 5 tracks on EP, and it's like
Yeah.
the fans know, oh, this is short lived. This is just like a little side thing we're doing. But
All right.
yeah, hopefully I'm very interested in how his live shows go, what his follow up single will be, if
Yeah.
there will be one.
Right. So, yeah, a lot of good choices. I'm very excited. So, yeah, check it out. Let us know.
Yeah.
Of course, let us know in the poll on Fuse.tv who your favorite release of the week was. Was it Monsta
This
X?
is gonna be tough. I don't even know who I'm gonna vote
Yeah,
for.
actually, I don't know either. I think I need some. Luckily, you have a week until next week's show, until we record and we close the poll. And yeah, you guys will you'll see you'll hopefully see your favorite win. So,
Yeah.
congrats to AOA, first win.
First one.
Or second one, whatever. All right, let's get into the charts.
All right.
And-
let's see who we got this week.
And look who it is, right at number 5, just as we finished talking about him, is Jonghyun with She Is.
That's awesome.
Yeah, already rising up there.
Yeah.
That's the album's number 1 on the K-pop chart too. Of course, I should have mentioned this, but we are looking at the U.S. iTunes K-pop chart right now. We're looking at the top 5 singles as we do every week. And then at number 4, hello again, Monsta X, All In.
Oh wow! I
Yeah.
did not expect them to chart above Chonyoung.
Yeah, they're
That's awesome.
and that one's been out for a moment, so
Right.
they're clearly sticking up there.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
Number 3, this is kind of cool. It's Tiffany's "I Just Want to Dance," but the Kago Pengchi remix, which I don't know if you heard this.
Interesting. I have not heard
But
it.
this is she did remember we were talking about, we were wondering why Tiffany released an English version of What Do I Do and then not the single.
Right.
And she did release so this is the English version, but it's got this new EDM beat. Honestly,
Oh wow.
I could take it or leave it. I kind of wish she had taken the original song
And just
done the English version. But hey, not complaining. It's cool to hear.
Interesting. Okay.
This,
like, I feel like SM's on this like EDM wave right now.
I love
so.
EDM at the moment, so I get it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Cool stuff, and it's resonating, so that's cool. Number 2. Who do you think it is? Did you peek?
No, I did not. I don't know.
It's BTS.
Oh,
with
of course.
Fire.
How did I forget about them already? I apologize.
You should.
I know. I feel like it was so long ago that we recorded our last episode, even though it was only a week.
Yeah,
but
a lot has happened.
Yes. And is number 1 Save Me?
Oh, it is.
It is.
Save me, save me. Yeah.
Still have
So
the top 2
BTS
tracks.
is still slaying it. So yeah, they're
And
still
well
up there.
deserved. So.
Yes, we love those tracks. So as you know, listen to them all on the Fuse.tv and our YouTube playlist. That was the charts, y'all. And last but not least, as we move into our final section of the show, we get into deep cuts where we talk about a topic, a controversy, what have you, that is trending in the K-pop community. We kind of already got kind of deep earlier with our question earlier, but we of course got to discuss Miss A and Jia, who is. Oh gosh, I don't know if that was shade, Tina, but
no, it's just like another news of another member departing a group.
Yeah. And it's kind of, well, actually, so the quick backstory, if you haven't heard, Miss A, as you know, if you are a K-pop fan, you certainly know Miss A, you certainly know Suzy, you certainly know these members. Group that really started off hot for JYP, Good Girl, Bad Girl. Started so strong. They had a lot of really great releases.
Right.
What else was there? There was I Don't Need a Man.
Right. I love that one. I like that whole mini album actually.
Me too. We had
They had like Breathe, Touch.
Breathe. Yes, so many like really big songs. And last year they had this song called Only You, a huge hit, one of the biggest girl group hits of last year.
Oh, Goodbye Baby was a huge hit.
Oh, Goodbye Baby. Yeah. Wait, was that the debut song or was it Good Girl, Bad Girl?
No, the debut was Good Girl, Bad Girl.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, Goodbye Baby was huge.
Goodbye Baby, goodbye. I haven't heard that song in a minute. Yeah. Well, they killed it the first couple years.
Exactly. But, here they are now. I don't even think maybe it's been about 6 or 7 years together. And here we are, 4-member group, and Jia, just announced that she is not only leaving Miss A, but leaving the JYP Entertainment Company in general. So
her contract expired, and she chose not to renew.
Yes. That is the legal way to say it. Faye, who was also in negotiation with the contract, did resign. JYP clarified later that Miss A is going to continue, but as Miss A, but apparently without the member.
So they have no plans to replace her for now.
It doesn't seem like it.
Okay.
But they said that right now they're focusing on solo activities, which I think
that's like code for.
We don't know what to do yet.
Yeah.
Oh man, are we being mean? I don't know, but
yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's just, I think it's disappointing because we're hearing about. I feel like almost every other episode has been a member is leaving this very particular generation that I think kind of created the international fan base of K-pop that we know today. We just this year we've seen exits from 21, Beast, and now it's Miss A. And I think it's really interesting because,
Day 6, although that's not the same thing because that was like they had just debuted and everything. But
yeah, right. And there's certainly, and like we always say, K-pop membership changes, replacements, exits are not totally new, but it's more shocking when these groups have been around for a while.
Right.
And done so well together, and then when a member leaves but the group doesn't disband or whatever.
Right.
It's a little trickier in
Right.
that
It's like
way.
they're single. It's like one person singled out. So like,
Yeah.
what happened?
Right,
It's
right,
not like
right.
the whole group is going on hiatus or
Ex-
disbanding.
Exactly, and Miss A, I think they always had an interesting sort of, Miss A was supposed to stand for Miss Asia. They were
Mm-hmm.
the group that, they had two members from China, one member
Right.
from South Korea, and I think Min is Korean American
Min is
or studied in
Korean, but
America.
she worked in New York with Lil Jon for a
Oh,
long time. She was
right.
supposed to debut here, but she is native Korean.
Right. Oh, okay, okay. I see what you're saying. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, they were a combination, but still very internationally minded.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
I would almost argue that they did not do a lot of stuff outside of Korea. A lot. I don't.
No, they really didn't.
And I felt like that's a shame because China is, now such a huge market for
Right.
K-pop and
I
whatnot.
mean, I think other than some concerts and fan meetings in China, that's like the most they really did there. But I mean, neither of the two Chinese members were really like resonating that much with, the Chinese population and Chinese fans. I feel like
I
they
wonder
weren't
why.
like, I don't think like solo endorsement wise they did much in China. But again, I mean, like listeners correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, they weren't like well known individually, I don't think.
And I wonder if that was a result of, because this group, if you know K-pop, if you know Korean culture, Suzy is the, one of the biggest stars in Korea, period.
That was so unexpected.
Really?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, she was like when when like groups debut, you're always like, oh, the youngest member, the Mangne. They're always like the quieter one, the one who doesn't like maybe boast like the best skills,
But they're there because
but
they're
they're
the
there.
youngest.
But it's like she's like the cute one, and then Dream High happened, and now she's focusing more on acting, if
Right.
anything, and so it's like
Yeah.
the group is kind of just like a hot mess
Uh,
right now.
Yeah. I would. It seemed like something got off track when it came to
Yeah.
the group in particular.
Right.
Because it seemed like when they're together, it's pretty good, but that doesn't seem to happen as much as it should,
Right.
and then things get lost in all that time in between.
Right.
And you're like, wait, they kind of look awkward together
Right,
now.
right.
Like I loved Only You, and I really love. I was actually doing my morning, MOURN, as in morning, just crying, not really crying, but I was listening to so many like good tracks by them, and I'm like, man, they had some really amazing B-sides, and
Yeah.
like Lips is like one of the best K-pop songs of all time. That was on the Touch EP. I don't know if you ever
Right.
heard it, but it was, and then the Colors EP that had Only You on it. So many good things. And then I'm just like, but what kind of happened, or why aren't they as well? Probably they're not considered like on that top tier, despite having
Yeah.
quite superstars.
Right.
For what I believe them to be quite superstars.
I don't know.
Because we had an interesting discussion right when we talked about right when this all happened, and we were saying they were kind of awkward together almost, like something when it should have worked but it didn't work for some reason.
Right.
And I don't know if that was just maybe this sort of unfortunate, maybe this Miss
I wonder
Asia
if
thing
it's
didn't
just
work.
kind of a mixture of like there wasn't one member who stood out like aesthetically, and I say that in the sense that like they're all gorgeous, but there wasn't one who was like, oh, that's like kind of like the really hot one or like the really talented vocalist. Like they were all great performers, but there wasn't like a strong vocalist in the group.
Okay.
I feel like, I mean, Min's got a great voice, but I don't think they really did much to showcase her.
I feel like they didn't.
And
either.
like Min was supposed to be, she was started out as like a hip hop dancer. Like Min is so talented. I think it's a damn shame that like they stuck her in this group and she like kind of disappeared.
Man.
And like,
And I remember hearing that she was going to do a solo thing, and
yeah,
nothing came
I
of
don't
it.
know. I thought she was much better than what was displayed in that group. But I think this always the dynamic always changes when one group member finds success elsewhere.
Yeah. Right.
And it's like Susie's clearly focusing on acting, and that's where she has all her fans.
Right.
So it's like her mind's not on the group. So the dynamic changes. The group, then it's like everyone's thinking, well, what's our purpose as a group now? Or like, why am I why am I still doing this? And like,
Yeah,
I
right.
feel like I do feel like their first few singles did much better than their last few singles.
Right.
So it's like it's a combination of people are doing their own thing, and our singles just aren't topping charts the way they
Yeah.
used to.
Right, which can be tougher, like when there isn't that same reaction and that
Hmm.
excitement that you once had in the group, and it almost becomes like, well, what's
Right.
the and I
They're just like
wonder,
going through the motions now.
yeah, exactly, and and you got to kind of wonder also, is their company going to want to invest in that too?
Yeah.
And I think it's really tough for fans to hear that and to kind of know that and accept that, but
Right.
I still have hope but here's the thing too is that I wonder, Girls' Generation lost Jessica last year, or oh my gosh, yeah, it was no 2 years ago,
Hmm.
um, and they kind of kept going as Girls' Generation, and I wonder, but Wonder Girls lost all their, everything shifted, and they came back as
Right.
something completely new. I wonder, is 21, is Beast, is Miss A, with their changes, are they going to come back with something new? Are they going to kind of keep going as they are? I
Right.
don't I don't know what the right answer is. I don't even know what I want necessarily, but I think
Right.
I almost want all these changes to be like a wake up call and
Yeah,
be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
let's change something.
Yeah, it's tough just because Girls' Generation is like the ultimate girl group, and like they have such a strong fan base that like
Yeah.
when you lose one member and there's still eight, it's like okay, well,
Right.
granted Jessica was one of the main faces of the group,
Right.
but no one ever doubted Girls' Generation wouldn't come back just as
Yeah.
strong
What
as.
about like FX? Because I think if I remember correctly, I think they came back pretty strong.
Yeah,
Maybe not huge, 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 but they were
right.
never maybe as huge. I still think they were quite underrated in
They
like
are. They are. Yeah.
their success, in album sales and whatnot. But I
I
don't
think
know that.
individually the group members had strong
Mm,
personalities and skills, whereas I think
oh,
Miss A, it was never like, I don't think anyone in the group really like really stood out
mm,
like as an as a musical artist.
that's interesting
So it's like it's not like,
because that's ultimately what we're judging them
right, like
on when they're Miss
Wonder
A.
Girls, it's like, yeah, like not every member of the group had like maybe like the best voice, but people knew like, oh, Yubing's like the rapper,
Yeah,
she's like the
right.
hot one. And then like Sun is like, the really great vocalist, and
Yeah,
like Yenny's a really great vocalist too, and like so he's cute, and like
right.
she's quirky and she has a lot of fans.
Yeah.
And they always had that kind of like retro concept, retro vibe.
Mm,
Like their concepts were always really strong. So
yeah.
people at least were like, okay, they're shifting members, but I know they're gonna give me like a strong concept regardless.
Yeah.
They always delivered regardless. Whereas like Miss A, it's like they don't really have strong members. Like at least they haven't displayed that,
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So
and
maybe.
they're not branded as like, oh, the group with this
Yeah.
strong, you know, image or
Yeah.
whatever. So it's like they don't have a lot to fall back on, and it sucks to say that because I really
Yeah.
like them.
Right. No, I totally see what you're saying. Yeah, and that's kind of like a fault of the management, It's like
Yeah.
that it didn't that wasn't so much at their forefront
Mhm.
because it is true. You need to have a reason to exist in the K-pop world. Maybe they were writing off their company, their
Yeah.
catchy song at first, but for the longest time, if I do think about it, a lot of their songs don't exactly fit in. I don't see
Right.
a single string throughout them all.
Right.
Maybe female empowerment was slightly there,
Right.
with the
Yeah.
I Don't Need a Man and the Miss Independent
Right.
Women
Like
part
good girl, bad
3.
girl. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that it wasn't. It certainly. I'm only thinking of that when I'm like reaching,
Yeah.
you know. So Miss A, I don't
Yeah,
know.
and like that's not kind of like female empowerment. It's not like
Tina's face is like going sour.
it's not like a super marketable concept
It's
in
not.
Asia.
Unfortunately,
You know,
yeah.
so it's like 21 and CL do it really well because they're really in your face and
Yeah.
they're really like artistic about it, and
Right.
they're really edgy, and it's like you really got to sell that
Yeah.
if you're
Yeah.
going to go with that.
Right. Yeah. 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 So Miss A.
So, I mean, yeah, like I feel like the general kind of conversation surrounding Miss A right now is that their future is very uncertain, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like things are shaky right now and people aren't sure what to expect.
Yeah.
And JYP's not really giving us any answers right now.
Yeah.
Like, they're all continuing, but
Right. I'm ready to see Gia do really well in China
yeah.
and then be
we
like,
didn't even talk about what she's actually going to be doing. I
yeah,
guess, like,
I
we'll
want to see her do well, and and then be like, oh man, like we should have done more with her. I just,
Yeah.
I want everyone to have that happy ending.
Right. Right.
So of course, let us know what you guys think. All the Say A's out there,
Yeah.
Miss A fans, in general, K-pop fans in general, and yes. As always, please leave us comments. Use the KStop hashtag on Twitter. Leave us a rating on iTunes. We love that. Leave us a comment on iTunes. Leave us a comment on Fuse.tv, wherever you can find us.
Tweet us too.
Yes, don't forget, I am at Jeff__Benjamin.
And I'm at Hey_Tina with 3 A's.
Yes, don't forget it, guys. And vote on our polls. Listen to our playlists. We make this so much fun. So if you guys aren't having fun, well, we'll work even
clearly
harder.
Not doing our job.
We'll work harder even to make it even more fun.
Yeah.
But as always, this has been Jeff.
And this is Tina. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.